Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a holiday Easter Monday edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and joining me as usual on Monday, a little earlier this time, Jason Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying the sunshine. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful Easter Monday.
Yeah, sure was gorgeous today. Yeah, we were really lucky having a nice long weekend here, and yeah, it was a fun weekend of sports as usual. No UFC, so we won't touch much on that. We'll just talk about the upcoming card near the end of this podcast. Gave us a little break on a Saturday night, but I guess the biggest news of Saturday was March Madness and the incredible game that took place between UCLA and Gonzaga. And oh man, I'm so happy I watched that. I still feel goosebumps when I talk about it, when I think of it. What an incredible game that was. The whole sports world around North America has been talking about that game. It was one of the greatest college basketball games in history. Overtime, so much drama. Man, I was so happy that you were watching it. You sent me some text right away just saying how much you were jumping around. Yeah, what a treat. What a pleasure. That was so fun to watch.
It was an instant classic. That's what that game was. Like they were just traded body blows the whole game. No team gave in. Both teams exercised their will to the extreme extent of what they could do on the court, and they showed it. It was magical. That's what it was. It was a magical game. It was awesome to see. I think no team got ahead by more than 6 points in that game, and it was freaking amazing, man. It was amazing. I loved it.
There has been a lot of criticism about this tournament this year, a lot of low-scoring games, not a lot of drama. There was not that many huge upsets, which people really like, but the 11th seed going in against the conventional number 1 seed, Gonzaga has been undefeated all year. I don't think a lot of people gave UCLA a shot to keep it this close, have a shot to win this game. Were you surprised that UCLA gave them such a run for their money?
Oh yeah, I was most certainly surprised. I didn't think that UCLA had it in them, but their one player, Zhang, really stepped up in that game. I think he maybe scored close to 30 points in that game or finished with 30. And on top of that, like if you want to talk about his draft stock now if he goes into the draft, that is skyrocketed, my friend. Skyrocketed. He really showed his value in that game. Like he played his tail off. They all did.
Yeah, no, it was amazing because earlier in the day, Baylor and Houston played and there wasn't much drama at all. Houston really didn't play well. They only scored 20 points in the first half and they were down the entire game, just really weren't able to match the intensity that Baylor had. Baylor's really good on the defensive end as well as on the offensive end. Baylor's a little undersized compared to some of these teams, and I thought Houston might give them a real run for their money, but it was a wipeout game. So a lot of people thinking, oh man, this won't be good if the semifinal is 2 blowout games. But right from the start, it was tight. UCLA was not using their really grind it out, slow it down style. They were trying to match bucket for bucket, and like you say, there was no real separation between any teams. You just had to keep watching, and it was so much drama. I was just riveted to the TV the whole time, and I've got a lot of player reaction, fan reaction. I want to show the clip just in case any of the viewers and listeners haven't seen this. Here's the last few plays in this game. It's super exciting, and man, I just jumped up. Woo! Holy cow! I couldn't believe it. So did a ton of people around. Let's watch this, Jason. It's fun.
All right.
This is going to be the radio call for it, showing the footage here. This is UCLA has the ball down 2 and 9.3 seconds left to start.
To the right side of the floor, defended by Kispert now. Drives, leans in, the runner comes up short. Juzang though rebounds and puts it in. We're tied at 90. 3 seconds left. Here's Suggs the other way. Pull up three for the win. Yes! 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 Of the championship game! He knocked it out from 40 at the buzzer! Yes! The Bulldogs! Wow! Play for a national championship! To the right side of the floor, defended by Kiss.
That's awesome.
So,
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty neat how they, wow, you know, it was such a reaction when UCLA scored because you were like, oh my God, there's only 3 seconds left. This is going to double overtime. Wow, this is going to be something that we talk about forever, going into double overtime and the drama that ensues. But Jalen Suggs gets the ball and he runs down the court. And he does his best Dame Lillard, Steph Curry imitation and actually banks it in with no time left on the clock to win. He said he always dreamed of jumping up on the table like Kobe Bryant did, like Michael Jordan did. And he had that ability to go over to the scorer's table or one of the reporters' tables and jump up. I just wish there was fans there. Imagine if the fans would have been there. They would have just flooded that court and it would have been some pictures that I wouldn't have wanted to stop for minutes and minutes watching the celebration after.
No, it would have been immense. It would have been immaculate. It would have been utterly fantastic, but yet it still was. The man comes down, hits a game time 3, but also too, going back like to lead up to overtime, Jalen Suggs has one of the most impressive feats in that game. One of the most impressive things I've ever seen, where he does a block on a defensive end and does that dime pass, bounce pass to his man on the run through 2 or 3 defenders. And then I looked at that play and I said, I guess that's why that guy's going to be a top 3 pick in the next draft. Like, clearly, the man has game. And once he hit that 3, I remember when I saw it go up, I go, that looks good. And then I was like, oh, and I start freaking out. All of a sudden, I piss off my neighbors. They're all banging on it. I'm just like, I don't care. That was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everybody was freaking out all over North America that was watching that game. It was just one of the moments that you're going to remember. Every time March Madness comes up, we're going to say, remember 2021. Holy cow. And I heard a lot of people talking today and saying, like, they can't remember a game that just had so much drama involved. I just wish it was for the title, for the championship. It's too bad it didn't end up being the final game. But for a semifinal matchup between a 1 seed and 11 seed, you didn't think UCLA would be able to keep their Cinderella hopes alive. And so fun to watch. I have some reaction from some UCLA fans that have some real excitement and then just instant heartbreak. We got to share a little bit of that too. It's pretty funny. Here we go.
If we try to go to bench, would be weird. Let's go! Did you
No way. Get up, get up, get time out, it is. Oh, what are you talking about? Get off. Vegas buyout! Mind your shit, man! No, hey! No, hey! Touchdown, come on!
Some pretty hilarious video. There is so much video all over the internet of some happy fans and some really sad fans. That girl there in the bar, that was the first one I saw. she jumped around a UCLA fan and just all of a sudden, a few seconds later, realized, oh my God, we lost.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And that's the crazy great thing about college basketball. It can change in a heartbeat. Yeah, we see games where there's 1 second left, they throw it in, they're able to tip it in or get a shot off. And it's just, March Madness is incredible. Last year, we missed it so badly. And it's so great to see them coming through and winning. Who do you have tonight? The game starts at about 6:20 tonight. So we're a little over an hour, about an hour and a half away. Do you think Gonzaga is going to have an undefeated season and take this title?
It would be cool Cinderella story if they did. Has been done since 1976. But I'm going to go with what I picked in my bracket, even though the finals was completely wrong. Well, not completely wrong. I did have Baylor winning. So I'm going to stick with Baylor. I'm going to go with Baylor's going to win. Yeah. But it would be a great Cinderella story if Gonzaga did win. The only thing I hope for tonight, the one thing I do hope for, I hope this game approaches the magnificence of what we saw with that game. That's all I want. I would really love to see a game like
that. Yeah, so would I. It would be absolutely amazing and really, just so nice that this turned out this way. Both Gonzaga and Baylor were actually favored to be #1 seeds and going into last year's March Madness. So it's really nice that both teams were able to survive this COVID season and make it this year. I think Gonzaga is going to win. They've had some heartbreak over the last few years, losing in the semifinals, not quite making it. They have their chance to finally win an NCAA championship, undefeated. I think they're going to. I think they're going to pull it off. I think they've got a few more of the horses, a little more size. I think Gonzaga just does it, and we'll remember 2021 for Gonzaga doing the undefeated season, winning it all, and finally getting that title. I love Gonzaga for one reason, that they always have Canadians in there. It's really great that they recruit north of the border. They usually have a couple of Canadians on the squad, and Andrew Nemhard has been a key cog in this wheel and a really big piece for the puzzle. And it'd be great to see a Canadian bring that championship home and parade it around his community around here.
Oh yeah, that would be fantastic. That would be awesome. That would be awesome to see. But they got a tough challenge ahead of them to win it all, to get all those chips that they've ever wanted from the beginning of this year. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens. I really am. I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're going to wrap this up before the game starts. So let's move on. I do want to talk about the women's NCAA March Madness. Probably the most eyeballs ever for them on their tournament. It started off in controversial fashion when a video was shared of their weight room compared to the men's weight room, and immediately rectified the next day. The NCAA went, "Oh, my bad, sorry about that," and they put together a world-class weight room and gave them the ability to work out between games. I think this tournament was fantastic. There was so much drama, and UConn has dominated so much in the women's game for a while. It was nice to see that they weren't in there for once. I think gives a lot of the other programs something to hope for. And we had two teams from the West here in the final. Very dramatic final as well. Went down to a final shot. Great to see Stanford. First time they had won in 29 years, the longest stretch between titles in women's history. Really great to see how well received the women's game was and how many great games there were through this whole tournament.
Yeah, man. Well, it's awesome that people have a chance just to see the development of the women's game and just how good they are, So, and it was great to see somebody else win the finals, somebody else. And hey, congratulations to the women of Stanford. They put together a heck of a game to win the championship.
Stanford looked like they might have blown it. They had a shot clock violation as the quarter was ending, and gave Arizona a shot at it. What did you think of the final play? Ari McDonald got the ball, and she dribbled around center court, started going towards the 3-point line. 3 girls converged on her, and she took the shot. Obviously, when you're triple teamed, there's got to be 2 people on the court that are open. I don't know, if she had the wherewithal to see anybody open, but she almost hit the shot. But do you think she should have passed the ball?
Well, she was probably thinking that she didn't have that much time left on the clock. And when they blitzed her like that, I think what Stanford was hoping for was that she panicked and just put up a shot, which is what she did. Now, if she was thinking a little bit straighter, she would have got that ball out of her hands as soon as she saw the triple team coming at her to one of the wings that would be wide open for the shot, right? But at the end of the day, she took the shot, she just missed, and then Stanford's your winner. But I personally would have passed the ball.
Yeah. Well, obviously they drew up the play for her to take the shot.
Yeah.
Do you think the rest of the girls on the floor are anticipating a pass at all? Or are they just going to rush the hoop and try to get a rebound if it doesn't go in? Do you think any of them would have caught the ball and been able to get a shot off to sink it? If they know that Ari's got the ball, she's our girl, she's the one that's taking the shot, are they even ready for a pass?
Well, you know what, though? Like, even as you drop the play, there's got to be a play behind the play. You know what I mean? And there always is. It's like, okay, so if that doesn't work, if they literally throw the whole freaking team at you, well, then pass the ball off to this. And that's your exit strategy. That's your exit. So somebody had to have been ready to take the shot. Somebody else had to have been ready to be there for another shot if she felt that she couldn't get off a clean look. And I'm sure it was there. But you know what? It was her time. It was her time to shine or not. So I don't know. Personally, I saw it was a little bit of hero ball, but whatever.
I personally, thought that she definitely should have found an open girl, but they wouldn't have been there without her. And they relied on her the whole season long throughout these playoffs. She was the go-to person, sank so many tough shots, and was always the leading scorer, was just really dominant in this whole tournament. I hate that, she has to live her whole entire life as like, I blew one shot, where, they wouldn't even have been there without her. So I hope people are telling that to her. I hope people are in her ear saying, hey, you did all you could, and, that you did an amazing job. But sometimes you lose, and it's not your fault.
No, exactly, right? First off, you have to have the confidence to take that final shot, and she obviously does, right? But at the same time, though, you do have teammates for a reason, right? Like it's not one-on-one. It's a team sport. So, end of the day, yes, she should give herself all the credit in the world for getting her team to as close as they ever been to win a championship. And at the same time, she should never be afraid to take that shot, because that's what you always crave, and that's what you want for. That's what the best want. The best always want the balls in the hand for that final shot, because they believe that they can make it. They believe they can always make it. So, you know what? If they drew it up like that, then that was the best shot that they had.
Haley Jones was fantastic in that final game, and she helped Stanford win that championship. I think she'll be a great pro going forward. And yeah, the women's game has really taken leaps and bounds over the past year. During the bubble, they really received a ton of notoriety, a lot of eyeballs on their games. They were really a driving force between the Black Lives Matter movement. And I'm really happy to see basketball at a women's level just starting to rise up the ranks and getting a lot more popular than they ever have.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to see because it's been a long time coming. And you know what? The NBA really stuck their neck out to make sure that this thing happened, that there was some sort of equality between like the genders. And it's been fantastic so that, like little girls growing up, they have idols. They have people that they can look up to. They can say to themselves, I can play this game just like any of the guys, and I can play it well, and I can make a living off doing it.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And thrilled that March Madness turned out so well, and really excited for the game tonight. Hope it's going to be as epic as the other night was. So turning to the NBA, let's talk a little bit about that. Toronto Raptors, the biggest, I think kind of the biggest story out of the weekend was the Raptors blowout of the Warriors. I sent you a text on the weekend and said, have you seen the score of this game yet? And sent you the details. They were up by 60 points at one point in this game, and they won by 53 in the end. The Warriors, how the mighty have fallen, and the Raptors having the most horrific March in their history, one win. Started off April with a complete bang, and were able to get one of the biggest blowouts I've ever seen, probably the biggest blowout in Toronto Raptors history, I think it is. Incredible. Were you shocked by the score you saw?
Yes, I was. And then I was like, okay, well, who played in the game? Were they missing some people? And I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Draymond didn't play and Curry didn't play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you could say that's 40 points. It's 40 points that they were missing off the court, 45 points. And so then that all of a sudden you put them in, then they only lose by 12. Then it's respectful, right? At the same, and that's the horrendous thing that the Warriors are having to deal with, is that they just don't have their full complement of players. Just don't have them. And so you're going to have games like this if you decide, okay, these guys need some rest. So your two top guys that kind of really are the anchors of that team, if they rest, well, oh man, it doesn't look good.
No.
Doesn't look
good. No, it was incredible. I was blown away by the score. Even yesterday, Steph Curry scored 37 and they still lost by 20. Even when Klay Thompson comes back and they're all three healthy, is this team elite enough to compete with the top of the Western Conference?
Depends on how Klay comes back. If Klay comes back like KD came back, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine, my friend. They really are. But it kind of all depends on how his recovery is going and how he plays after said recovery. Because let's be honest, it's been 2 years that he's had major operations, one on his knee, one on his Achilles. We don't know how that's going to affect him. We don't know. I would say this. I'm pretty damn sure he's worked his tail off to get to the best of his ability to get back on the court and be back to where he is. But you don't know until you see it. You just don't know. So that would be the great unknown for now. But if he comes back and he plays like KD has, Warriors going to be fine. They're going to be just fine.
Well, they're clinging to the last play-in seed. They're number 10 in the West right now with a 23-27 record, 9-18 away from home, 3-7 out of their last 10. I think 7 losses out of their last 8. It's a mess there right now. I think they need a few more pieces. Andrew Wiggins hasn't really developed like they wanted him to. They're really struggling rebounds, and they are last in the NBA on causing fouls. They are sending their opposing team to the line 26 times a game on average. Usually it's about 30. 44 times yesterday they sent their opponent to the free throw line. 44 chances at the free throw line yesterday. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know why they're causing so many fouls. Maybe too many of these young guys not really understanding what fouls are and how you got to defend. But last in the league there, I think Steve Kerr is going to just absolutely lose his mind.
Probably he's already losing his mind, to be honest with you, because he's used to winning. He's not used to this. And yeah, you're right. There's some other pieces that need to be added to that team once Clay comes back. But I do like what they do have. Like I think that Kelly Oubre Jr., I think he's been playing really well this year. Like he had his challenges shooting the three in the beginning of the year, but he seemed to clean that up. And so, like if they can shore up their defense and their rebounding, specifically, if they can do those two things, then I think they're going to be really, really good. They're going to be in a great spot. But like you said, their young guys need to figure out how not to foul all the time. And if you're going to foul, I've always been a firm proponent of this. If you're going to foul hard. Make sure you send a message. Do it like the Detroit Pistons back in the day. Send a message. Make sure that they know coming down the lane is not going to be easy tonight.
You can't play like that, unfortunately, anymore. You get flagrant fouls like crazy. You'll never have the ball. They'll just keep letting them shoot and then give the other team the possession. You can't play that way anymore, unfortunately. The calls I see flagrant fouls these days are ridiculous. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of ticky-tack stuff. I hearken back to the old days, like where men were men, you know what I mean? But I get it. It's all in protection of the player. But I would love to see them allow the guys to play a little bit of defense as well as for all the ticky-tack calls that get called all the time.
At times I watch NBA basketball and I think if I was in the NBA and I was in there for a few years and stuff, I would just absolutely not even go to the gym anymore. The workout gym. I'd go to the gym and shoot hoops, but you don't even need muscles anymore because they won't allow any kind of physical contact whatsoever. So Why do you need muscles? You see guys jacked all over the court, but there's no point to it anymore. You don't need to try to muscle past guys or push guys off you because as soon as you do, boom, they blow the whistle. You got to go to the free throw line. It's becoming to the point of a joke, and we're going to see 200-point games, in the next few years here. It's becoming just really, really unfortunate that there's no physicality allowed anymore.
It may be something that it may go to like the rules committee so that they can see if there could be any more tweaks that can be made to the rules, even though they make tweaks every year to the rules, right? But it's something that I think it deserves some attention. It deserves some attention because, I love high scoring games, but I do appreciate games where there is some defense being played as opposed to what I like to call Ole defense or Matador defense, where it's like, oh, I tried, but he's too quick. And it's like, no, actually, you didn't even guard him. You didn't even try. Just let him score. So.
Yeah, and that's a good way of describing it. Yeah, we see it too often, and Brooklyn was really bad for it. Luckily, they've addressed it, and it's become better. But yeah, there's too many teams that just allow guys to just score the hoop and hope to beat them on the other end with a three. And yeah, it's tough. But Raptors are playing right now. They're playing the Washington Wizards. It's just reached halftime, and the Wizards are up by 10, 61-51. Russell Westbrook has 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. So 1 assist shy of another triple-double. I have a stat here that he has the most triple-doubles in Washington Wizards history. He's only played 41 games, and he has 18. The second player on that list is Darrell Walker. He played 283 games, and he had 15 triple-doubles. John Wall and Wes Unseld are tied for third on the list, 7 triple-doubles. Wall played 573 games, and Unseld played 984. So Russell Westbrook has come there. he's still a triple-double machine, just absolutely incredible on the court in all facets of the game. But Wizards just cannot win. They are a really, really bad team. And it must be frustrating for a guy like Russell, who's still one of the most elite guys out there, and doing it on all parts of the game. But they this can't win.
No, it must be frustrating for him. But I'll say there's one guy that's even more frustrated because he's been dealing with that literally his whole career. Is Bradley Beal. Beal must be like, oh man, get me out of here. Get me out. But luckily for Beal, I believe his contract comes up next year. So either they deal him or he walks and he goes somewhere where he can finally go to a contender and possibly win a championship, get his chip, because that's a guy that deserves it. He's earned the right to finally play for a team to have the possibility of winning a championship. So yeah, man, like it's just unfortunate because the Washington Wizards have always had that atmosphere, that aura of just not a winner. You know what I mean? Just not a winner. And they've had that forever. I don't know if that organization can ever shake that. I hope they can at some point, but for now, it doesn't look like it.
No, that's true. DeMarcus Cousins signed a 10-day contract with the Clippers. If he's healthy and he can stay healthy, I think it was a good pickup by LA.
Oh yeah, I think that's a great pickup. If he can add anything to that team, that is a great pickup. I've actually very much enjoyed the pickups that all these teams have been picking up for guys off the waiver wire or whatever. But yeah, that's a good pickup for the Clippers.
So at the top of the West still has Jazz and the Suns. They play tonight. Jazz have won 9 in a row, 9-1 in their last 10, 38-11 on the season. They got a 3.5 game lead on the Suns. Suns have won 5 in a row. Clippers are 7-3 in their last 10. They're in third place, 2.5 games behind the Suns. And then you've got Denver, 5 wins in a row, 8-2 in their last, and they're in fourth place. Really big pickup for them making that trade. They to me are going to give a lot of teams a ton of trouble. I think I'm putting a lot of money on Denver going very far in this Western Conference.
Yeah, because Jokic, the Joker, is having an MVP season, and like he's the best big man passing the ball that we've ever seen. And Aaron Gordon just gives them that extra added definitive slasher, 3-point shooter, athletic wing, right? Like, so I agree with you. And they showed it last year. 3 games-1. They're not out of the series. Don't think the series is over because they can prove that they come back on you like that. So I think they're going to be a problem for anybody that they face in the West. But like, if you look all up and down in the West, it's going to be a dogfight for every team in the West. Every team's going to be a dogfight because now you look at the Lakers. Lakers look like they're going to fall down to like 6th spot now because they're missing Anthony Davis and LeBron or something like that, 6th or 5th. So even if they do fall, you still know they're that good because they come into the playoffs and go, oh, well, those guys are back. Great. This is going to be fun. So whoever comes out of the West, it's just going to be brutal. They're going to be super tough to beat. Whatever team comes out of the West is going to be super tough to beat, man, because they would have had to run that gauntlet to get out of there.
Yeah, Lakers are sinking like a stone right now. They're not very good. Andre Drummond even out. He's got some toe injury that's keeping him out. So they're using tons of bench guys and little used guys normally. They're in 5th place. They're only half a game up on the Blazers in 6th. And they could actually slip down to that play-in tournament. Wouldn't that be crazy though? I would feel sorry for the Jazz or the Suns or the Clippers at the top having to face the Lakers in that first series if they actually have to be in 7th or 8th place. That would be crazy.
Well, if they slip that far, that's not a gift. That's not a gift at all. If you have to face the Lakers, where you're like, oh, okay, they're actually not this bad because they were missing their stars. But now they're back, and now this is going to be a really, really hard series.
Crazy, yeah. I'm looking forward to the Mavs. I love watching them play. They've won 4 in a row. Grizzlies are playing pretty good lately. A couple wins in a row. Spurs are in 9th and Warriors in 10th, like I said. So turning to the East, Joel Embiid's back for the Sixers. Sixers were 7-3 without him. Luckily, they were able to sort of maintain it, but he is a big, powerful force, and I think he really can push Philly. If they can finish first and they get that home court advantage, they could go far in this conference. Nets are what everybody's talking about. Nets and the Sixers are tied right now for records. But yeah, getting Embiid back was huge for them.
Oh, yeah. Embiid, again, having an MVP type season. And his teammates have even said that. I listened to a pod with Tobias Harris. He goes, he just had a way different mentality this year than he's ever had. And it's awesome to see. And it's just energized the entire team. And you can see it. You can see it. And that's why they're at the top of the East. And then also, too, I think them getting Doc Rivers as their coach, I think that was maybe the missing element that they needed to put them over the top, because Doc has got those guys in that winning mindset. And that's where they needed to be. Maybe that was the thing that they've always been missing, right? And Tobias Harris, again, that guy just missing out in the All-Star game, becoming an All-Star, because he's had an All-Star type caliber seasons thus far. Yeah, man, like they're gonna do great. I think they're gonna make some noise in the East. But as we've been talking about, the one team that looks like they're just lurking in the shadows, in the mist, is the Nets. And it seems like whoever goes to the Nets, all of a sudden they have a career, like they have a resurgence. LaMarcus Aldridge all of a sudden looks like, oh, he can play again. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's great.
Yeah, it must be so frustrating for these former teams where the guys is just really sort of dogging it, and then suddenly he goes to this new team, and yeah, he's had a, like you say, career resurgence. Suddenly looking 5 years younger and playing great. Yeah, it's not cool. It's not a good look for these NBA players. I wish they approached, when they're not happy, I wish they approached it in a better way. Just play it as hard as they could. Just say, get me out of here when you can, and not just dog it. And yeah, it's tough to see. The Bucks were able to sign Drew Holiday to a 4-year deal, 135 million guaranteed, up to 160 million for if he meets all his bonuses, 40 million a year. That gives them the big three. I like Drew Holiday's game. He's not as flashy as some of the other point guards out there, but now they've got their big three with Giannis and Middleton. That was a really bold move by the Bucks, giving him 160 million over the next 4.
I'm going to be honest. I freaking love it. I love Drew Holiday as a player, because you want to know why I love Drew Holiday as a player? Because the players in the league know how good Drew Holiday is. That's all you need. That's all the respect you need. Like, if you don't get the all-stars, the nods, whatever, but if other players in the league go, no, man, that guy is actually that good. That's all you need, man. And I want to say that Drew Holiday is one of the best elite defenders in the league. He can lock you up. He has done that. And he has the ability to step up his game to yet another level when he gets to the playoffs. He's shown that when he was briefly with the Pelicans, when they've made it, he stepped his game up. And so he has that ability, man. I think that's a great move on their part. Yeah, but again, the pressure's on the Bucks because they got to move. They got to do something. They got to start winning, or they got to start getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and Finals. You know, they have to make some real strides to almost getting there or winning it all the way.
Yeah. You've seen them up at the top of the East for the last 4 seasons, and they've been, just haven't been able to push through in the playoffs. They're only a game and a half back behind the 76ers and the Nets, but they've got that big three now, and that core is something that's really formidable, and it's going to be hard for a lot of teams to beat. But And the Nets just keep on reloading and reloading and adding more and adding more. And they're really trying to make it, a Nets championship. It's funny how in New York, it's become finally a battle. It's kind of like the Lakers Clippers in LA. This is this Brooklyn, New York. The Knicks are always going to be the team there, I feel like, no matter what, even if Brooklyn wins a few championships. But it's kind of cool to see this rivalry. They're playing together today right now. And I think it's fun to see that in the biggest city in North America.
Yeah, it's always great to see some sort of rivalry in the big cities. And also, too, at least now it is a rivalry, because before the Knicks were like garbage, like real garbage, like garbage. So, but now with like the emergence of Julian Randle and stuff, and then they did draft well. I think the other young man's name is Quigley or something like that. And they got a good team now. And so at least now you can approach the conversation of there is somewhat of a battle. You know what I mean? Even though the Nets are clearly that much better than the Knicks right now. Like, they're clearly that they're that good. But at least now the Knicks are beginning to round into form. And once they make a couple more moves and a couple more pickups, I think they're going to be right there again.
On the weekend, Lonzo Ball had a career high 8 3-pointers made yesterday. He helped the Pelicans to a 122-115 victory over the Rockets. Lonzo Ball came into the league, really elite passer, very athletic, but his shot was lacking. He has spent his off seasons and during the season working on a shot, and amazing to see. There was tons of talk that he was going out of New Orleans. He was going somewhere else this year. They didn't make a deal, and he really rewarded them yesterday with 8 3-pointers. Great to see him develop his game so well, and start becoming an outside shooter like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? He was willing to listen, put in the work, and he knew that his shot needed some refinement, so to speak. And so he did that. And now he is paying dividends. The hard work is paying off, right? And the same with his brother. Brother had the same thing happen with his shot. And so he had to tweak it. He had to refine it. And then also, too, now his shot is that much better. So I give credit to both brothers, man. Like, they put in the work and they've sacrificed to make sure that their game has evolved and has gotten better.
I just saw a graphic flash across the screen on the Raptors game here, and they have a graphic for the highest selling NBA jerseys in Japan, and I'll go 5-1.
Okay.
Number 5 is LeBron James. Number 4 is Rui Hachimura. Number 3 is Russell Westbrook. Number 2 is Steph Curry. And number 1, Yuta Watanabe from the Raptors is the number 1 sold jersey in Japan. That's pretty cool for the Raptors and pretty cool for Yuta.
Yeah, well, it's great that the folks over in Japan realize that they're rooting for their Japanese brothers in the NBA. So, and that's always a cool thing to see. That's always great to see. And it's great to see that the NBA is rounding out even more and more with like more people from different countries getting into the league and showing their skills, right? Because it is a global thing, it's a global sport, and it's becoming more global every day.
So heading down to the bottom of the East, trying to get into that play-in game, or 7th are Knicks, 8th are the Celtics, having a pretty bad year comparatively. Pacers are 9th, Bulls are 10th. Raptors are 11th, and the Wizards are 12th. Can the Raptors pull this off and make that play-in game at least?
Maybe. It's gonna be hard. It's not gonna be easy, man. Like they have struggled all season. They would need to put together a string of games at the end here to get that to happen, to make that a reality, make that a thing. I just don't know if they have it in them. I'm going to be honest. I really don't know if they have it.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been really tough to watch and struggling. Fred Van Vliet's out tonight in this game. But Gary Trent Jr. has really emerged as a very lethal weapon for them. I've been super impressed with him since he's made the transition over from Portland after the big trade.
Yeah, Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood have been key factors in that trade, and they've significantly added to the firepower of the Raptors. And if they could continue to do that and try to find some cohesiveness with their new running mates, now their partners in crime, there could be a possibility. I just don't know if there's enough time for that all to happen.
Okay, well, yeah, NBA clicks on. We're down to probably most teams have about maybe about 20 games to go, and it's going to be interesting to see how these teams emerge and how the playoff picture starts shaping up. I do love this play-in game. I think that's something that came out of the COVID, having the bubble, and allowing some more teams to have a play-in tournament. I kind of like that. At least 10 teams have a shot at this now.
Yeah, no, I think that's there to stay now. I really do. And I think it's a great addition because now it's not just the top 8, it's 10. 10 teams got a shot. And I think that just adds more excitement for us fans of the game. And I think it was a great move on the NBA's part to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll try to give you an update by the end here. Washington's up 72-55 on Toronto, 9 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third quarter. So there was a big trade in the NFL today. Sam Darnold, the quarterback from the Jets, was dealt to the Panthers for 3 picks, a 6th rounder this year, a 2nd rounder next year, and a 4th round pick the following year, 2022. Both are in 2022, the 2nd and the 4th. So Sam Darnold's gone. Looks like the Jets decided we're walking away from him. We're going to try to get another quarterback in the draft. They were at the bottom of the league, and they were definitely looking like they were getting that number 1. Jacksonville was able to win that Turtle Derby and get it, but it looks like the Jets will be drafting a quarterback right at the top, and probably Justin Fields seems to be the name that everybody's talking about, maybe going there. Mac Jones, maybe. Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be going to Jacksonville, but what do you think of the deal? Sam Darnold finally getting moved.
Well, I think it's good for Sam to get out of there. I think it's good for any player that's actually good on the Jets just to leave because I think it's going to take more than just a quarterback to get that team to where it needs to be. It's going to take a lot of pieces, a lot of pieces. It's going to take a while, man, for them to be good. Maybe, hopefully, whatever quarterback they do end up drafting adds some excitement or maybe some hope that Jets fans have lost over the years because it's died a long time ago. So I don't know, man. I hope that they can become relevant at some point in time again. I just don't see, even with the reception of a high draft pick of a top-notch quarterback, they just need more than that. They need so much more for them to be relevant again.
They sure do, yeah. There's a lot of teams jockeying for position in this draft and trying to address their shortfalls and the needs that they have in this draft. We'll see how everything shapes up. This was quite a quiet week in the NFL. Not a lot to talk about, but this trade was just consummated today, so thought we should mention it. And I do want to talk about the UFC. There was a big change on next weekend's main event. But first of all, I do want to mention our partners and sponsors, and then we can just wrap it up with some UFC news. Anchor has been a great partner for Complete Sports Media right from the start. They've been fantastic on posting for multiple podcast platforms, and they call themselves the easiest place to make a podcast. So Anchor FM is the place to go, and you're able to create a podcast for yourself. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, fantastic industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is a can't miss product to get in your hands. Pampas Impossibilities, they design and sell dried florals, do floral arrangements and installations. And last but not least, Forever Living, the aloe vera company. They grow and manufacture aloe vera based products for health and beauty. So thank you, as always, to our partners and sponsors. So UFC news this week. I guess kind of the biggest news was Marvin Vettori, Darren Till. Darren Till gets injured, has to drop out of the fight, and they decide to put Kevin Holland in to replace him. What were your thoughts when you heard the change?
Wow, that was quick. What a quick turnaround. And I have a feeling, like as soon as I heard that, I go, that might be a better matchup for Kevin Holland than Derek Brunson was. That actually might work to his advantage. I think that's like stylistically, it's just a better matchup for him. Like, I don't believe Marvin Vettori, depends on how he approaches the game. Maybe he takes Derek Brunson's like cue and takes him down all the time. But I have a feeling Vettori will feel pretty comfortable going toe to toe with him on the feet. And that could be a mistake. That could be his downfall, because Holland has this sneaky power with that length that he can whip those punches in. So I have a feeling we might be surprised with the result of this main event, this fight. I just, something just tells me I think this is going to be a really good fight. I think this is going to be really good for Kevin Holland.
Yeah, I was surprised that they brought him in there so soon. Dana White said he thought that Kevin Holland had a mental breakdown. Everybody criticized him so much with talking so much during the fight and not really trying to get off the ground. I was really surprised that they wanted to showcase him that quickly, especially in the main event. I hope he shuts his mouth enough to just at least win this fight and prove. He said he didn't think he was able to fight at this weight class anymore, which, boom, they just turn around a couple weeks later and put him in there. So, I was a little disappointed in that because, his last performance wasn't good. And I don't know if when you're not good, your last performance, you deserve a title shot, or not a title shot, but a main event slot. And I don't know. It was very, very strange for me. I don't know who else they would have approached. I don't know if he was the first guy they thought of, but I thought it kind of come out of left field and seemed like a very weird opponent for them to pick.
I agree with you. I agree with you on both parts. I thought it was a little bit odd, but here's the thing. They may have approached a number of fighters and they all said no. And then he was like the last guy that said, yeah, sure, I can do it. And then they were just like either we lose the main event altogether or we throw him in there. And I have a sneaking suspicion. I think they had their hands tied. I think it was either take him or they scrap the main event altogether. So that's what I think it was. Because like you said, like Dana White said all those things that were not they weren't stellar reviews of Holland. So why would he throw him in there unless he didn't have a choice? And I think it was one of those things where he possibly didn't have a choice. But again, like I said, for whatever reason, I feel like this is a great opportunity for Holland. I hope he capitalizes on it, because I think stylistically, this might be just a better matchup for him than Derek Brunson was.
Yeah, well, let's hope. I hope it's a better one than Brunson. That fight wasn't close, and it was a one-sided affair there. And I do like Kevin Holland. And I do like how he talks. I really like how, he brings a lot of excitement to the cage. But, winning and fighting is, your job. Not talking, not doing this extra stuff. So. Bring a better performance this time and I'll be a lot happier. There was a lot of talk about Francis Ngannou and who's going to fight next. He was offered a fight for Derek Lewis for June the 12th. He turned it down and he said, no, I'm not interested in another fight with Lewis. That was one of the worst heavyweight fights I've ever watched, and you and I
Yeah.
talked about it last week. But John Jones and the UFC have been fighting and battling all week. Did you see what John Jones sent out on April Fool's Day?
Nope.
He
Didn't
sent
see
out
it.
a mess. He sent out a message saying, "Me and Dana had a great dinner tonight. We sat down. We had a phenomenal conversation. We had a really great time. We've decided, yeah, we're moving forward with this Ngannou fight. Details will come out when it's happening in the coming days." And then a couple of tweets later, he wrote, "This is coming out a few minutes before midnight here." And then he wrote, "Ha ha ha, happy April Fool's Day." And I thought it was kind of the best. I'm usually not impressed with a lot of things that Jones sends out, but I kind of thought it was pretty funny when he said, "Yeah, me and Dana hung out. We had a great dinner. Yeah, we signed the deal. It's done. We're ready to go." And I thought it was hilarious.
Well, yeah, but first off, you guys don't go to dinner together. Yeah, I know that's an April Fool's right away. So it's like, yeah. We went out for dinner. We had a great. No, you guys don't have great conversations. More like it's a battle every time you have a conversation. So, and I understand why Ngannou turned down Derek Lewis because, well, he goes, well, I don't want to do that fight again because it was super boring and none of us wanted to punch each other because we both have the power to knock each other out. I get it. Now, what Ngannou actually wants, I want that money fight. The John Jones fight is the money fight. So you know what he'll do? He'll probably just be like, I'll just wait till you guys figure it out because I'm the champ.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to believe, most of the stuff that comes out, but there's talk that Jones wants up to $50 million for this fight. I don't know, I don't know the figures that, seems absolutely ridiculous and crazy. He says that the UFC would still make money even if they paid me 50. He's not the champ, and I don't think, the challenger can really ask for that type of money. Francis Ngannou, for that fight against Stipe, he made $530,000 for that fight. And he became the champion that night. So, I can see him making, $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million possibly to be the champ for that fight. They're not going to pay the challenger more than the champ. And I don't see this fight being able to happen if Jones is asking for anything close to this kind of money.
But here's the thing, though. A precedent has already been set with that dude, McGregor, where he was a challenger and he made way more money than the other guy that he was fighting. I believe when he was fighting for the belt, he made way more. So you can't tell me that, no, that's not the way it works. McGregor's already broken that. It can work that way. All right.
Okay. All right.
And so at the same time, then if he's going to make that, then Ngannou's going to be like, well, I'm not going to fight if I'm only going to give me a break. You're going to have to pay me at least 10. Right. I think they could possibly get the deal done because I heard Jones throw out the number value of he wants Deontay Wilder money. Deontay Wilder money was $30 million. So if they could get that down to 20 to 15 for both of them, then you got a fight. Then you got a really good fight. But I don't know if the UFC says, you know what, we're cheap and we don't want to pay anybody. So you both sit then, which is they can do that too. So whatever.
Yeah. Well, Jones has threatened to leave. Jones has threatened to sit out for a couple of years. He's been all over the place with tweets and things that he sent out in social media. Cyborg tuned in and said, come to Bellator. Screw those UFC guys. They won't pay you. Bellator will pay you. Lots of people commenting, trying to say that Jones is worth this money. He should get paid. He's been one of the top guys in the UFC for many years, and I think it's a fight that's going to last a while. And I don't see the UFC trying to bend to John Jones's needs and wants. You mentioned Conor McGregor. They finally announced the trilogy fight happens. Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor going to fight again. I was excited to hear July 10th is the date. They've signed on the dotted line, UFC 264. Do you see Conor being able to figure out a game plan and reverse this latest loss to Poirier and get the trilogy fight in his favor and win the 2 out of the 3.
Well, every time he's done this, he's actually come out on top, right? So he's going to have a different game plan. But you know who else is going to have a different game plan? Dustin Poirier. Yeah, man. Like this is going to be. My hope is to see that this fight's going to be epic in all the best ways. In all the best ways, and that's what I truly hope for this fight, because this is make or break for McGregor. He loses this fight, well, then you're just not really that important anymore. You're not that bright, shiny thing that Dana likes anymore. You're not that guy, right? So it depends. Like he's got a lot to lose in this fight. McGregor has a lot to lose. Not so much Poirier. Poirier is always going to be at the top. Win or lose, Poirier is going to be fine. But McGregor has a ton to lose in this fight. So we'll see what happens. I'm super excited. I'm glad they made that fight. And I'm glad that Poirier decided to go this way. Now, in retrospect, instead of him going for the belt, he went for the for sure payday. And that's to more cement the financial needs of his family, which comes very important for every man that's fighting in the UFC.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, when I first announced it here that he wasn't going to be fighting for the belt, both you and I were really shocked, but he had turned it down for the bigger payday. And sometimes I don't agree with that, but this time I am. And he's put his blood, sweat, and tears into this sport, into this division for many, many years. And I think he deserves a big money fight. And that is the fight to make. This trilogy fight will be widely regarded, and a lot of people are going to tune into it. So it's huge. I mentioned Ngannou making $530,000 for that fight. He partnered up with a company, and they decided to put out some NFTs. Have you heard of NFTs, Jason?
I have heard of them. So it's like it's a digital representation of your history that you can now piece off as like merchandise, pretty much.
Right, exactly.
Like that, right?
So they had a fundraiser, and they ended up selling a few of these NFTs. They're called non-fungible tokens for anybody that hasn't ever heard of them before. It's a digital way of receiving an image or a video that nobody in the world owns except yourself. You're the sole owner of this copy of this. He ended up putting a bunch of these NFTs on, and they raised $580,000 for it. So he made more money doing this little platform than he made going in there and fighting for the heavyweight title of the world. So yeah, I can see him stepping up and saying, hey, do you think we could do a little more of these NFTs? Maybe I won't even have to fight anymore if I can do a few more of these. Paid more than having to train and go in against the baddest man on the planet at the time and try to capture the belt. A little ridiculous when you think of that.
Oh yeah, it's completely ridiculous, right? But at the same time, he was the challenger. Yes, he did win the belt. Challengers never get paid anything before they win the belt. But now that he does have the belt, and he's going to be charging hard for that John Jones fight, because they both know that's the fight to have.
Right, yeah.
The money. Show me the money. And then since he's the champ, he's going to be like, well, whatever John Jones get paid, you're going to have to pay me close to that. That's it.
Yeah.
Or else the fight's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I'm glad they're working on it. I don't know. I know the UFC and John Jones have been at odds for many, many, many years, and it doesn't seem like he's ever really happy with the money, but they are going to make a huge amount of money. I hope they can figure it out. That is the fight to watch. I'm glad that they put pen to paper and got Poirier McGregor 3, something to look forward to this summer. And yeah, we had a 1 week break in the UFC, but we're right back at it with this card coming up this weekend. I think there'll be a lot of great fights on it as usual. And yeah, we're about 15 minutes away from pregame of the NCAA final. It's going to be great. But Baylor and Gonzaga, I think, yeah, it's if it can live up to that last game, we're going to be very, very entertained and very excited. We're about a minute and a half left in the third quarter, and Washington's up by 9, 84-75 on Toronto. So we'll watch the end of this game, and then we'll watch some NCAA basketball. I'm glad we could fit it in a little early today. I'm glad you were able to be outside. It's been a while since we saw you outside enjoying the sunshine doing these podcasts.
Yes, it has been a while, and it's great to be outside again and enjoying the weather. It's a beautiful day, man, and I'm super looking forward to this game. I am so looking forward to this game. I just hope it lives up to the hype, and I'm sure it will.
Well, thanks, buddy. Yeah, have a great week ahead, and keep in touch. Enjoy the game. Let's text a little bit as the game unfolds, and we'll do this again next week.
All right, you got it, buddy. Talk to you then.
Okay, take care. Bye for now.
Bye.
Okay, well, that was fun as always. Great that we could touch on some of the March Madness, some of the NBA, a little NFL, and some UFC news of some signings and some negotiations that aren't going quite so well. Sure hope the UFC can figure that fight out, because man, that could be one of the most widely watched UFCs in history. And when it's for the heavyweight belt, they've got that title as the baddest man on the planet. And Francis Ngannou, I don't see anybody beating him for a while. John Jones is up to 255 pounds, but he's never fought at that weight yet. I don't know if he's going to be able to come into that weight division in his first chance and take the belt off Ngannou. I think that would be very surprising. He would cement a legacy that's already very, very high up on the chain of best fighters in the world. But I guess we'll see. I hope they can come together and make the numbers work, and hope the UFC realizes the kind of potential of money that can be made by everybody involved. So thanks so much for your time. I hope you had a really great long Easter weekend. Thank you for watching and listening, and take care of yourself. I want to say hi to my niece and nephew, Lee and Evelyn, and hope you guys are doing really well down in Australia, and miss you lots. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for your support as always. Appreciate it. Love you. Bye for now.